All right, welcome back to the Unger Games. We're cranking out episodes this week, next week, whenever this drops. We're cranking out episodes. Thanks for being a part of the show. The show is going to continue to grow. We're going to add some guests, friends of the show, deeper discussions, more reviews on new shows, new movies, new. I'm trying to do new. There's going to be a lot of old. I'm going to harp on some movies that I love and some movies that I didn't love, and continue to talk about the ever changing, ever flowing movie industry, streaming industry, whatever you want to call it. It's evolving, it's growing, it's weird. And I haven't had one of these episodes yet where I kind of just go on a rant. And so you're going to have to excuse me, but this is like my first rant episode. Don't excuse me, just listen to it and embrace it. Who gives a shit? I'm going on a rant. So, my first episodes were about, True Romance, which is a great movie, and Normal, which is a new movie that I was kind of into, and Hokum, and then you got Beef season 2, and now you got this. So I just watched the movie last night and today in parts, and like I don't do the in parts unless I know I'm not like super interested in something, or if I just can't watch all of it. Like when I first watched The Irishman, it's like a 3.5 hour Scorsese movie that I read was way better watched in parts, so I did it because I just like 3.5 hours. Dear God, I can't even fathom that. Like, stop. Um, so here's my rant. I have a problem with where streaming is going from a movie production standpoint. Let me explain that. So, Netflix and Amazon and all the streamers are trying to do this thing. Eh, Apple's trying to do it too, but Apple's not doing it as high volume, if you will, as the other streamers. And they're trying to what they call build a library, right? And it's a decent idea in theory and kind of like decent idea in practice too, because the heart of these streaming services is you're trying to sell what? You're trying to sell subscriptions, subscribers. And you want people to pay monthly for as long as they can pay monthly, so you can have all this money coming in from people paying monthly to maybe not watch a lot of stuff, maybe watch a lot of stuff. But how do you sell the consumer on paying for your streaming service? You do it by building libraries. Now, what does it mean by building a library? Well, that includes like the big properties, right? Like the Netflix bigs, like Stranger Things. Like they now have One Piece live action. Um, Years ago, they had House of Cards. Like you build the original content that people really want to follow, and then you buy rights to and create and produce all your own other shit, basically. And then you can advertise and sell to consumers like, we have this on Netflix. We have all these things on Netflix. Like we have all these movies now with all these big actors' names, and like Amazon's doing it, and like a lot of the streamers are doing it, and I feel like Netflix and Amazon are the biggest culprits of what I'm about to get into. But they do this stuff where they pay like, and I'm sorry, dude, where they pay like the Kevin Harts of the world and the Dwayne Johnsons and whoever else big money, over the top money, star money to make these movies that are just pretty crappy. Amazon has been doing it a lot. Amazon just came out with a movie that I didn't even watch yet that I'm actually planning on watching. I think it's called Balls Up, and it's like a raunchy soccer comedy with Mark Wahlberg and Paul Walter Hauser, and I like both of them. I think they're really good. Just it's tough because these movies are billed to a general audience where you can say this big name is in it and Mark Wahlberg's in it, and the movies aren't like really well thought out. And I was actually talking with my dad today, and he he asked me a good question. He goes, like, who greenlights this crap? And I'm like, I have no idea, man. Like, who greenlights this crap? And then you have all these like really great filmmakers and directors and producers that supposedly are trying to pitch certain things to some of these streamers that like don't get picked up or don't get greenlit. And then I'm seeing all these like there was a point in time where on I felt like Netflix like three times over the course of like 18 months was like, we have a new Kevin Hart movie. We have a new Kevin Hart movie. Like, cool, great. Like, can one of them be good? Like, just one? Like, you take like the five back and give me one good one, please. I just want a good one. I don't want a mediocre one with names that people will say, oh, well, I already watched the first 40 minutes of this Kevin Hart movie, so I might as well finish it. Like, just a good movie with like a decent script. Like, I watch shitty movies, like, and I'm not saying like shitty from the standpoint of like production value, but I watch movies that people would say like are not great movies. Like, I'm into the Fast and Furious franchise. Like, I'm gonna go see Mortal Kombat 2 next week. I watch a lot of garbage. Like, it doesn't have to be like the greatest story. It could just be like a popcorn flick, but like at least make it something that like has something from beginning to end that I can watch. Um, and so that brings me to an actual movie. Like, there's a movie I'm going to discuss on this episode, I promise. And somebody had mentioned to me, and I had seen some of the marketing for it, but somebody had mentioned to me that they had started watching the movie Apex on Netflix. And I'm going to nicely plug this for a second. There is a new movie called Apex on Netflix starring Charlize Theron, who is an outstanding actress, co-starring Taron Egerton, who I think is an outstanding actor. And Eric Bana's in it for like, I don't know, no reason. He's just in it, I guess. Um, Not for long. And so this movie is like billed as like this thriller where in the marketing, Taron Egerton is kind of like chasing Charlize Theron's character through what looks like a river setting or rainforest. It ends up being like Australia in this beautiful setting. And the movie like bothered me in so many ways, like so many ways. Um, it's like, okay, so the movie had a weird beginning, right? Like, she's climbing a mountain, and then like her husband or partner is Eric Bana, and like there's a bad accident, and like he dies. Spoiler alert. And like it very much off the bat feels like, so what? Like right off the bat, you're like, so. And then as the movie continues, you're like, oh, they're gonna get back to this climbing shit, aren't they? Because there's like no climbing the rest of the movie, but like it's this crazy scene, and it's snowing, and they're like sleeping in a tent like that's attached to the side of the mountain. Like she feels like it's her fault that there's an accident and that he dies and all this, and like I'm already like detached from the plot. Like I don't care. And then you flash forward, and like she's in Australia and like looking to go on an adventure, I guess, and like has some weird run-ins with like these guys, and Taron Egerton shows up, and like they're in a convenience store, and like you're thinking like, or I'm thinking, he could have just like killed her like there. Or then there's like another time where he sees her a little later and starts helping her and like kills her there. And then it kind of gets into like the only like actual plot, like I'm doing air quotes right now, like the actual plot of this movie and the whole Apex title and everything is that like Taron Egerton's character is in it for the hunt, right? That's what you start to realize, is like he's in it for the hunt, the thrill of the chase. So it wasn't like warranted early on. So then you build it like for no reason, that he's into the thrill of the chase. So then like he's chasing her, whatever, and like he also, another really annoying thing in this movie is like they go over the top with the writing to like make it feel like he's just like this hunter, like this weird human animalistic hunter. And he does this like weird loud like cackle scream thing, like he's a hyena or something, like leading a hunting pack, but he's like a bald British man pretending to be an Australian man with an accent that isn't great for an actor who I think is absolutely great. And he's just like screaming and cackling, and I'm like, what is going on here? It's just like, I actually said out loud like the second or third time he did it, I'm like, what is that? And so then like we get to some other like really weird crap where he's like in a cave, and then you start to reveal, or it starts to reveal, that he is not just like a hunter hunting these people, but he's like a cannibal, and he's like eating these people. And there's like a reference earlier in the movie about how like Jenna's jerky, and like they talk about like Taron Egerton's character's mom, and they hint that like Jenna's jerky might have been like him eating his mom. So they kind of like already gave up early on that like he's a cannibal and he eats people. Cool, good for him. And then like he reveals that he did, and it's like super underwhelming, because you're like, oh, okay, well, this guy's already a psycho who's screaming and like didn't kill this person but like wants to chase them. And then there's this like really weird scene where he like takes out his like actual teeth to reveal that he has like these like sharp like caveman predator animal teeth that like almost reminded me, I don't know if any of you have seen any of the like older James Bond movies, but there's a character named Jaws that has these like metal teeth, and basically it looked like almost like Jaws but not metal, like these weird creepy sharp like I could chew your flesh teeth. And I'm like, again, the writing here, like it's so bad. I'm like, what is like, and this guy had like other victims like strung up or like hung up in the cave, and like There was articles about these people that had gone missing, and like, what are we doing? Like, okay, so you got this big actress, Charlize Theron, you got this big actor, Taron Egerton, and like, you've got like a 95-minute movie, and I'm sure they put like good good amount of money into making this. Probably wasn't like super high budget, but like to pay these two actors and to get them to do this, like, here's part of the problem I have with this. Actors are doing work for a living. It is a job, right? So if Netflix and these other streamers and Amazon and these big studios slash streamers are going to put it out there that they're going to pay these actors, people who work for money, to do these jobs, to make these movies, not every movie is going to be great. But if every movie has a great paycheck, then like sign me up, right? Like, what am I doing on the microphone here? Like, I want to be an actor. You don't even have to be in a good movie or even like be at your peak of acting, because like, no offense to either of these, but Charlize Theron and Taron Egerton are much better actors when the script is like even like half decent, and this was not. And I think I saw on Rotten Tomatoes that like the critic score was like a little over 60%. Like, who paid them? What? Like, I respect all of you for the work that you're doing, but like, who paid you all for this? Like, this is not a real movie. This is really bad. And so, um, maybe he didn't kill her earlier because he wanted to keep her fresh to eat. Like, I don't know. Now I'm just reading too much into this bad plot. Like, it's just, at this point, it's off the rails, and I don't know what's going on. And again, if you're these actors and somebody's coming to you and your agent's coming to you and saying like, hey, well, I'm just giving hypothetical, I don't know the numbers here, but if your agent's coming to you and saying like, hey, Netflix wants to give you like $2 million for 4 weeks of shooting in Australia, are you going to say no to that? Like, do you even need to read the script? Like, probably not. And same thing for Taron Egerton. If Taron Egerton is like doing a bunch of streaming and won awards for other things and like is still getting a bunch of roles, like, a bad movie's not going to be the actor's fault. Like, if Netflix didn't execute or the director they hired didn't execute or whatever, like, okay, like, I'm going to have bad episodes of the show, and there's going to be bad movies, and people are going to move on and continue to do work and get paid and be positive and try to do their best and whatever. But if we keep making these to build a library, like, why don't we make them to make like good, cool, creative shit? Like, where did the creativity go? Like, there was nothing to this movie. So then we get back like after some chases, and like she gets her leg caught in like a bear trap, and then he like helps her out of it just so he can like chase her again. Like, again, like, I had no idea what was going, like, why is this happening? Like, just like kill her and eat her if that's what you're trying to do, dude. Like, I know it sounds gross, but if that was the goal, then like do it. Like, you just love the thrill of the hunt, so you're gonna keep letting her go. Like, why? Like, and at what point do you decide like, all right, well, I'm done with the thrill of the hunt, so now I can string her up with their other victims and eat her and turn her into beef jerky? Like, I don't know, figure it out, man. And then, so they get to a point where like they're both really injured, and she's like fighting him and chasing him, and like he hits his head on a rock, I think, in the water, and like she's all beaten up and bloodied, and she like busts his leg to where the bone is coming out like in his shin, and like he can't really move, and then she gives him this like very underwhelming ultimatum, and she looks up at this big wall, and now here comes the climbing theme back from the beginning that was so meaningless to begin the movie. And she goes, I'm going to give you two choices. Either you help me scale that wall, or I'm going to leave you here to die from the infection. Okay, well, you didn't need him to help you scale the wall. Like, he can't really move. One of his legs is busted open. They were like attached to each other on this wire or this cord or whatever. She could have easily figured out how to detach it and just go up and do it herself. But instead, get this, they agree, like they almost like agree to disagree, but then agree that they're going to help each other get up this wall. And he's even like, don't you dare get up there and throw me off, and like all this stuff. Like, so now the writing has gone from like really bad to just like abysmal. Like, I don't even know like who oversaw this script or like approving this budget or whatever. Like, again, no offense to anybody that worked on it. Like, you're all doing like really hard work, and I'm sure like the intent was there, but the product was just like an absolute nightmare. And it's funny, you don't see this too often, but it does happen. The audience score is lower than the critic score on this, which is why I made the joke of who paid the critics. Because like, if the audience is not really into it, then like what are the critics seeing? Like, there's nothing like critically acclaimed about what's going on here. It's critically bad. And So then we get to this wall scene, and I'm like, oh God, they bookended this whole beginning with the snowy climb, and now we're going to end with this dramatic climb. Because they didn't really have a feature length movie here without the climb stuff. They had about 8 to 10 minutes at the beginning, and they had about 8 to 12 minutes at the end. And, you get a lot of this uh, heartfelt character progression from her with, she felt guilty, but now she needs to get over her fears of climbing a wall. And something's going to happen between her and him. So they're climbing the wall a little bit. They're climbing the wall. He's like, don't let me go. And he like pulls her down a little bit, and they're like jostling and like, don't do this to me, blah, blah, blah. And then they keep climbing, and then she realizes what she should have realized when she was on the ground before she even like let him start climbing with her, that there was like no way that both of them were going to make it to the top, and just like, okay, well, we're just going to let bygones be bygones, even after almost killing each other for the previous 60 minutes of the movie. And hey, let's all just go home happy now that you had all these victims that have gone missing in your cave. Like, that was never going to happen. Like, what? Like, it's one thing to suspend disbelief for like a Mortal Kombat movie or a Fast and Furious franchise and be like, well, this can't happen, but it's entertaining. Well, this can't happen either, but it's not entertaining. Like, there was nothing redeeming about this. Like, her character progression was meaningless. Um, so they're climbing, and she ends up like realizing that she needs to get rid of him. So she kind of like takes her harness off and like throws him down, and he like violently smashes his head on a rock. And boohoo, now the like apex predator hunter guy is gone. Oh, so sad. And then it becomes this big moment of like, well, now she needs to, free climb this really tough wall after all the trauma that she's dealt with. So then they like focus on the free climb, and like a couple like zoomed in tight shots of her climbing that like looked super fake, because like, why would she be climbing on these zoomed in tight shots? Like, that would be not safe at all. Maybe they were real, I don't know, I have no idea how they were producing this. And the other thing that kind of bugged me is like, she's a great actress, she's beautiful, but she's like 50 years old, and like, we cast her to be this like, oh, I'm gonna climb the rock and I'm gonna kill the bad guy, and like, was it the right role for her even? I don't know, but maybe they just wanted like a big name, because like, it's her, right? Like, so they did it and they got her. And like, look, this was much more of a rant episode, and I'm giving like a fairly negative review of Apex. Like, would I give this movie a C? No. Would I give it a D? No. I'd give this movie like an absolute F. I think this movie like should not have been made, and I don't really know how they made it. But I'm more embarrassed as like a consumer of film and media. Not that I spent the time watching it. I'm going to watch bad movies, and I'm going to give you reviews and feedback on how I genuinely feel about bad shows and bad movies. It's going to happen. But I'm embarrassed they spent money on great talent like these two to make them play absolute shit roles. And if the money is there, these bad movies are going to keep being made. Why would anybody stop taking the money? And more importantly, if Netflix wants to build a library with bad stuff and big names, like, then just tell your consumers that you're doing that, because you're like, are you fooling some people into paying for the subscription and saying that we have these big names with big movies and big titles and big, 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 big? Sure, you are fooling a lot of people. Like the general population and the general audience is fooled by this, and that's part of the problem. And if the streamers and the studios took their audiences and consumers a little more seriously, maybe they would take the process of producing these movies with bigger names a little bit more seriously. So that was my rant. That's my review on Apex. Do not watch Apex on Netflix. This is the first negative review I've given on this show. And again, I'm so sorry for the negativity to anybody that's worked on this, because I know you're all trying really hard. It is just a job. It is creative. And I'm sure a lot, if not all the people that worked on this are very proud of the work that they did. So I'm not trying to push any of that away. Like, you all worked really hard, and I respect the hell out of that. And making a movie is difficult work. And for that, everybody that worked on it should give themselves a big pat on the back and be proud of what they did. But from an entertainment standpoint, which is what we're talking about, and how this affects life and just socially, we're talking about shows and movies here. Absolute garbage. Do not watch Apex on Netflix. And look, if you watch Apex on Netflix, or you already watched it before I release this episode, or you watch it after I release this episode and you've just heard this episode, and you want to give me like some comments or feedback, and we can talk about it on a future episode, email the hungergamespod@gmail.com, thehungergamespod@gmail.com. And I'd love to get your feedback. Hey, maybe I missed something. Maybe this is a good movie. Maybe something that the critics said was right, and I'm just completely wrong. I doubt it. But, that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. Well, thanks for listening to this rant, and thank you for listening to the Hunger Games.